earth has not anything to show more fair. Dull would he be of soul who could pass by a sight so touching in its majesty. This city now doth like a garment wear the beauty of the morning, silent, bare. Ships, towers, domes, theatres and temples lie open unto the fields, unto the sky, all bright and glittering in the smokeless air. Never did sun more beautifully steep in his first splendour valley, rock or hill. Ne'er saw I, never felt a calm so deep. The river glideth at his own sweet will. Dear God, the very houses seem asleep, and all that mighty heart is lying still.
William Wordsworth and his sister Dorothy were crossing Westminster Bridge very early, about 5 or 6 in the morning, on their way to Dover and then to France. This view affected them both profoundly. We know this because Dorothy wrote about it in her journals.
It was a beautiful morning. The city, St. Paul's, with the river and a multitude of little boats, made a most beautiful sight as we crossed Westminster Bridge. The houses were not overhung by their cloud of smoke, and they were spread out endlessly. Yet the sun shone so brightly with such a pure light that there was even something like the purity of one of nature's own grand spectacles. We rode on cheerfully.
I think the most striking thing about this poem is it's really built on a paradox. We've got William Wordsworth, who is the paramount poet of the countryside, of the lakes, of the hills, of the forests. And here he's writing a poem about a city, and not just the city, London.
This city now doth like a garment wear the beauty of the morning.
The beauty is worn like a garment, and a garment is something that can be taken off or can be shrugged off, or which will probably fall away. So this is a very temporary beauty, which makes us and the poet feel especially privileged to be seeing this and to be witnessing it.
The city is still. It is unconscious. It is not doing anything. The city is depicted as a body, as an unconscious body, lying asleep, calm and guiltless, innocent.
The Thames was really, really smelly. It probably was a pretty dirty place, but he's chosen to depict it in the morning and to pick up on the kind of the spiritual quality, the stillness. He uses silent, calm, asleep, still, those kind of adjectives.
We know that this is a gesture of daring because elsewhere in Wordsworth's own poetry, in the Prelude, he tears into London. He accuses it of all sorts of things. At the same time as this poem, we've got Blake writing about London as an inferno, a place where marks of weakness and marks of woe are seen on every face.
If you look at, say, Blake's London, you get a very, very different London, where there's prostitution, there's child labour, there's dirt, grime, there's horror, there's hell, basically.
So we know that he is going against the general received appearance of the city. And this is something which poets have to do. There is no point in telling everybody what they already know.
Wordsworth doesn't say, look, there's St. Paul's, look, there's Westminster Abbey. He just has this list: ships, towers, domes, theatres and temples. It could be any city in a way. It could be a fantastical city, a mythical city even. It's only the title that anchors it in any reality.
I think the reason the poem is called Composed upon Westminster Bridge, September 3rd, 1802, which is a wonderfully documentary way of doing things, is to give it veracity, is to say this is a specific occasion.
Ne'er saw I, never felt a calm so deep. The river glideth at his own sweet will. Dear God, the very houses seem asleep, and all that mighty heart is lying still.
The very houses seem asleep now, and all that mighty heart is lying still. That heart that is lying still is nevertheless mighty. So there is that question of what happens when it wakes. We just get this feeling of awe and this little shiver of unease is perhaps too strong a word, but of what it will become in a few hours.